Hey guys, what's going on, and welcome back to another video. My name's Dion, and today I'm going to talk to you about my first week doing the Funded Trader Challenge. So if you're a subscriber to the channel, then you know that currently I'm in a phase where I'm trying to get funded. I've just passed week one. It started 8 days ago because I started on Tuesday last week. So I'm going to go over my performance on the Funded Trader dashboard. I'm going to give you a little explanation as to how my week went, how I thought I was trading, what I could do better, what I'm currently focusing on this week, and then we'll have a look at the charts and see what opportunities there are to take. So let's start off on the Funded Trader dashboard. As you can see, my equity is currently 100k 737. So with locked in profits, I'm about 1% up, but with floating profits, then this is the amount that I'm up, about $737. I'm in a trade right now. We'll go over that after, but let's keep going down. So you can see that my win rate is only 30%, which means I win only about one in every 3 trades roughly, but I'm still in a profit. And this is because the way that I manage my risk has been it's been quite well, to be honest. The losses which I take are relatively small, and the trades that I win tend to be much larger than the trades which I lose, so they eat up all the trades, and that's why I'm still in a profit, although I only win every 1 in 3 trades roughly. So I'm about 8 days in, which means I'm roughly a third of the way through, and with the way I'm performing, this is not enough to win the challenge. Now let me tell you why. If I made about 1% in a week, and I was to perform like this over the next 3 weeks or so, the most that I'm going to profit is 4%, right? Because 4 weeks, 1% each week. So I need to bump those numbers up. Now, this isn't because I haven't been catching the right amount of pips. It's not because I'm genuinely underperforming. It's because the risk which I'm using for each trade is very, very small. Now, I'm talking anywhere between 0.25 to 0.5% risk. Now, why did I do this? Well, to be quite honest, the first week was just like a little warm up. I was getting used to it, this and that, so I risked less. Now, I've seen how I performed, and as you can see on the chart, I made a whole bunch of mistakes after my 4th trade to about, the 19th one? Or is this the 4th? Is this the date or the number of trades? Yeah, closed trade. So after my 4th trade to my 20th trade, it was going downhill. Now, why? This is because I was taking very risky trades, very tight stop loss, and lots of them. And I did lose lots of these trades, but I also won a few of them. And just because I won, because I won a few of them, but I won them pretty well, it ate up all the losses. From then, I started taking higher quality trades. So I was trading a bit less, and risking roughly the same amount, maybe a little bit more, but nothing too significant. So then my price started going up of my account. I topped out at roughly 2%. Now, I don't know why it doesn't show it on here. Maybe because it was just floating profits. That's probably it. But I did reach about 2%, I think literally yesterday. But I held on to my trades. They both got stopped out. So this is roughly where I'm sitting, and this is how I'm performing. What I'm going to do next week or this week is I'm still going to take those quality trades, which I believe in, and I'm going to risk a little bit more so that when I do take those wins, I am winning enough to put me on track to pass this challenge. So this means I'm not risking anything less than 0.5%, but I will still stick to my rule of having roughly anywhere between 1.5% to 2% absolute max of risk on the table at all times. If I have some trades open, but they've all been moved to break even, then I'm cool with that. That's all right. I'm still willing to put up and have open 2% of my full account at risk. So yeah, that's pretty much how I went, what I'm doing, how I'm going to improve for this week. Now let's head over into the charts and see what's happening. I'll go over into the larger time frames, say the 8-hour. Pretty much as I mentioned in another video, I do feel like Bitcoin is ranging between these 2 levels. Just above 22k and 17,600, and we did form this trend line, right? And what I've seen and the current trade idea which I'm taking at the moment is this break of the trend line, and I'm targeting the next lows, which is 17,600. So that's pretty much what I see from the technical perspective. I'm just trying to keep it as simple as possible because this is how I like to trade. So I did take some shorts from this top area here, and this is where I made like the profits, because I was in roughly 1% drawdown, but I made that up, pushed my way up to 2% profits, and I'm down to roughly 0.5% to 1%. So that was the trades those are the trades that I took, and the trade which I'm in at the moment, I don't have plotted on the chart. I just feel like it's much easier from a psychological point of view to not see how much you're winning or losing. As long as I know that my invalidation area is valid, as long as I have my target set, that the trade ticked my boxes, my confluences, and it gave me the green light to pretty much enter. That's all I care about. I entered, everything else is sorted. I don't have to worry really unless I see a major change in market structure, which we haven't at the moment. So currently what I'm seeing is just lower lows and lower highs from the major resistance, the top of the box which I highlighted earlier. We formed the trend line earlier on, which we have just broken. And now on the smaller time frames, what we're seeing is a retest to this trend line. And this is where my trade idea comes into play. I entered short roughly in this area with my invalidation set beyond the last high. So I'll just plot it roughly on the charts here. So my stops are set like just above this last high, with my targets down to 17,600, and I've got 0.5% risk on the line at the moment. So if I do win this trade, like if this trade plays out successfully, then I will pass the challenge. But at the moment, it's an iffy one. Price is consolidating right about at the resistance. And what this is telling me is that I do feel like lots of volume is building up in this area. I will chuck on the fixed range tool in a sec, just so we can gauge where the volume is at. But I just want to note that after breaking the trend line and price started moving its way up for the retest, we are seeing a dramatic, I wouldn't say dramatic, but we are seeing volume decrease and decrease. So what this is telling me is that the buyers, they're losing power, they're getting exhausted, and what I'm waiting for is the sellers to come into action, come into play. It's currently just before 5 p.m, so London session doesn't start for another hour or so. So this is when this is when I'm expecting the volume to pick up a little bit. Also, there are the interest rate numbers coming out today. I do feel like this is going to be very volatile in the markets. We're going to see a strong reaction from that news, depending if interest rates are higher or lower than expected. But it is a risky time to trade, not going to lie. It is a risky time to be placing a trade like this, especially with that news coming out. But I'm sticking to my plan. So the fundamentals check out, the on-chain analysis checks out, and the technicals also check out. So this is the idea that I'm taking. Pretty much, I'm willing to lose the 0.5% risk just to be exposed to the potential profits that this trade has to offer, because it is a pretty good one if it plays out well, if my hypothesis is correct, and if price does reject the break, if it does reject the test to this trend line, then it could be good, especially if the news works in my favor, which, like, I'm not going to jinx myself, but things aren't looking too good for interest rates. I do expect them to continue hiking for higher and higher. If that's the case, it's not going to be good on the market, and we will see a sudden drop. Now, will the volatility cause a spike to take me out? Maybe, but I don't want to have to worry about that. Like, I'm following my rules. Everything's been planned out. That's how I'm planning to take this trade. I mean, that's how I have taken the trade. So now it's just a waiting game and waiting to see what happens. And that's for BTC. Now on ETH, very similar thing. Actually, we'll go back to BTC just so we can track volume. I'll chuck on the fixed range tool just to show us where the most volume is for the day. And yeah, pretty much, like as I said, most of the volume is concentrated right up below that resistance. So what this is telling me is that we may have a lot of short positions building just below the resistance, for example, me. And I don't really like this, because if so many short positions are being built up right at the resistance, more than likely we're going to see the market tick up, rally, take us all out, and then make their way down. So this is when trade management comes into play. How do I plan on keeping myself safe from this? Well, look, it all depends on market structure, and I don't want to go too much smaller than the 15-minute time frame. But I guess if we can see a break of this trend line here, then I will move my stops lower. Because if we do see a break in the trend line, it does suggest that price will move to where the trend line had started, which then means that, like, price flying up into this area is no longer valid, right? So because we're expecting price to come down, so I may move my stops to break even or something, but this really depends on how the markets play out. Right now, if I'm going to be completely honest, I don't know how I'm feeling about this trade. Like, everything checks out, but with volume so concentrated right underneath the resistance, I do have a feeling that I'm going to be stopped out and that price will reverse on me. But hey, this is the risk I'm willing to take, and this is why I've only risked 1% on 0.5% on this trade. Now, the other 0.5% which I'm willing to risk is on ETH. If we chuck on the fixed range tool, we can see here that over the course of the day, we have been bullish, just as you see on BTC. And what this suggests to me is that the sellers got exhausted. Price needs to come up, find some buyers, which I feel like will be in the point of control of yesterday's, it will be in yesterday's point of control where the most volume is. Let's move over into the 1 hour time frame. So this does look like a very valid trade to take, only because even if we come up higher, this will still technically be a lower high. Now we've got a high, we've got a low, and we got a high, and then we made a lower low and lower high. Now, if this lower high happens to be at yesterday's point of control, this will be a very strong trade for me to take, although the risk to reward going down to the next level for ETH, which is roughly 1K, is not as attractive as BTC. As you can see, it is only 1 to 3 risk to reward ratio. So this is a trade that I would be willing to actually take 1% on, just because the risk to reward isn't as good. So I would like to put the risk up just a little bit, so when it does take profit, or when my profit does get hit, at least I walk away with something. So, but you know, this isn't my immediate, or not, it's not my long-term target. I do feel like there is lots of downside to be made in the market, so my target really is down to the last lows, just like I mentioned on BTC, which does give us a 1 to 8 risk to reward ratio. So honestly, this is a much cleaner trade in comparison to BTC. So I am willing to risk a little bit more on that trade. But like I mentioned, we'll just have to see with like what's actually going to happen with the news coming out, especially. But yeah, let's go into the next trade. Now, this trade was not taken on the Funded Trader Challenge. This is a personal trade which I took on my FTX account. And it's going well so far, to be honest. This is GMT, so this is the native token for Steppen, the Steppen ecosystem. They're the sneaker app, pretty much, move to earn. Now, I had this idea that if price is going to continue crashing across the entire market, I want to be short selling projects which are going to drop the most, because that's what's going to make me the most money. Now, I chose this move to earn app just because I've looked at the token which you actually earn when you move to earn, and the token is dropping ridiculously. Like, it's not even funny anymore how much it's really dropped from when I started using it. But I just don't see a point in people putting in the effort to make such small amounts. Therefore, I feel like this app is not attractive anymore. Everything's crashing with the market. That paired with, you know, these move to earn, play to earn games, like what's the word for it? Their attractiveness is not very high right now. People are pulling their money out the market. So I do expect these projects to be crashing the hardest. That's why I short sold GMT. So far, we've caught roughly like a 16% move to the downside. Yeah, roughly 16 to 17% move to the downside. And I do expect it to continue dropping much further. I have targeted its opening price, which was roughly 0.45. And yeah, like, this trade's going well. This is probably my favorite trade I've taken in a while, to be honest, just because I did a lot of research going into it. The entry was very clean and crispy. It worked out really well in my favor. So I'm just going to keep this short position running, and that's it. Like, those are the trades which I'm in / thinking about taking. My Funded Trader account, not doing too bad, although I can be doing better. And to do this, I would be taking more of the high quality trades and playing with more risk. And I feel like if I continue just doing this, then I'm going to pass the trade this challenge, depending if opportunities arise, in about a week or so. I don't think it's going to be left right until the last minute, because when I do win, I win pretty big. So if I'm using the appropriate risk to go with that, I do feel like it's going to smash through it, to be honest. Really keen for it. But at the end of the day, look, we'll see what happens. Anyways, that's the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed like the first actual week of my trading. Nothing's being hidden here. You can see the results, you can see my wins, see my losses. This is everything which I've intended this channel to be. Watch me through my journey. We don't know if this is going to be the challenge which I pass, which sets me off, like which takes me really to the next level, and I feel like my life is really going to kick off. It's going to hit differently if that's the case, but that's how things are going at the moment. Happy that I do have, like, you know, somewhat of an audience to watch me on this journey. But yeah, I'm gonna stop rambling here. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'll catch you guys next week. I'll be uploading on again on the Tuesday or the Wednesday, because I started the challenge on the Tuesday, so I want to do proper like 1 week updates. So we'll leave it at that. We'll catch you guys in the next one.